Today on the show, we're taking a look back at a very special episode of the Thoughtful Software Podcast. Episode 32, Writing Software with IDesign Juval Lowy. I'm Jason Hoflick, and this is TSP Moments from the Thoughtful Software Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Bloomfilter. Bloomfilter is a new app that brings unprecedented amounts of data about every one of your projects straight to your fingertips, giving you insight never before seen in any one single app. Bloomfilter's revolutionary new project platform dramatically improves communication, predictability, and efficiency across the software development lifecycle. Bloomfilter provides software teams complete visibility into their projects, keeping them on track and in budget to drive consistent, valuable outcomes. So head on over to bloomfilter.co today to sign up. That's BLOOMFILTER.co and start changing the way you work today. Okay, so writing software can be challenging. In fact, it can be really difficult to produce a product that meets the wants and needs of your customers while trying to meet deadlines, staying within budget, and producing an innovative product that delivers value and at the same time solves real-world problems responsibly as well as ethically. So suffice it to say that writing software is no small task. And it's no secret about the hardships that are facing the software industry as well. A majority of projects that are started do not deliver what was promised or overload users with unnecessary features, or they just simply fail outright. In fact, every year, billions of dollars are wasted on failed projects. Now, you accompany this with high turnover and employee burnout, and you have an industry really that's in peril. And this is actually why the Thoughtful Software Podcast was started in the first place, to try and help fix the problems facing the software industry. So a while back, Andrew and Fahad had Juval Lowy, founder and CEO of IDesign, as a guest on the podcast. Now, Juval is a master software architect specializing in system and project design and is officially recognized by Microsoft as a software legend. He is also the author of several books, including his most recent highly regarded book, Writing Software, a System for Method and Project Design. On the podcast, Andrew, Fahad, and Juval discussed many of the previously mentioned challenges facing the software industry today, and how the software industry can be righted today much in the same way that a ship which has gone off course can be righted and pointed back in the correct heading. Now, episode 32 provides a relevant and engaging conversation, and I would encourage anyone listening to this episode to go back and hear it in its entirety. So with that, we hope you enjoy a key part of that discussion with Andrew, Fahad, and Juval.
I want to get back to touch on a major point that you guys have been talking about for this entire time, is a major need to educate the industry. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on, writing software. It's a great approach, and I love the book. We talk about thoughtful software when in every project we say, it's almost a requirement to go through some sort of discovery or project design upfront. But there's this conflict, right, with clients that they have these aggressive deadlines. So how do you educate the industry that, doing this upfront work is in the best interest of the project, and it won't really impact, your schedules and your costs and things like that?
Several strategies, and you're going to have to employ actually all of them. Okay. First, it's about trust. If you are a professional, it doesn't matter if you hire an independent contractor like your company, or if you're just working for the man at an IT shop, you're hired to do a job, right? Now, everybody should be able, if they are professionals, to go to the boss or the customer and say, trust me or fire me. If you don't trust me, why are you paying me? If you trust me, stay out of my way, let me do my damn work. There is nothing in between. It's an illusion. It's a figment of your sick imagination that there's something between trust me or fire me. There is nothing in between. Trust me or fire me. You hire me, okay, then I'm a professional. In addition, professionals always don't actually listen to what the customer says. If somebody has a problem, we go to the doctor and say, give me morphine. No doctor would say, I give you morphine because you have something wrong with. No, what's the root cause? Are you smoking? Are you sick? So let's deal with that. I'm not giving you morphine. So it's a very basic of professional code of conduct, of ethics, of professional ethics, of professional integrity. Okay. And it's actually, and then it goes into integrity at the fundamental level. Meaning, you mentioned discovery phase, project design, and so on. You're trying to drive an educated decision to even want to actually do the project. In order to answer that question, you have to know what you're building, so you have to do architecture. So at the beginning of the project, the architecture is simply a mean to an end. It's not, that's why we need to build. It's only after I have the architecture, be it of the house or of the software system, I can actually know how long it will take, how much will it cost, and commit the funds, the capital, or maybe decide not to do it. Now, suppose this is your project. Suppose you have an idea, you're a developer or an architect working at some company, and you have an idea for doing the next killer app. It's the most amazing thing, it will change the world. Well, that requires capital. And you can go and get a VC to cough the capital and take 80% of the equity and dilute you in 3 rounds. So after 3 years of working 80 hours a week on something that's most likely going to fail, you're going to end up with a sliver of a percent somewhere. Okay, or you can self-fund it. You can get family, friends, you can sell your house, liquidate your retirement plan and get some capital. Now, if it's your head on the block, are you going to invest in doing these things? And of course you're going to invest in doing these things. You're not going to do anything else, because if it's a $3 million project and you only have 2, you should probably keep your day job. Because what would happen once you burn the $2 million? You don't have a third million. And if this is a 2-year project, but the marketing window closes in a year, well, you should probably not do anything. So when it's your head and neck on the chopping block, you will invest in these things. Imagine that you're a project manager and you will be held personally liable for any schedule slip and cost overrun. Meaning whatever you can commit for 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is. But if you slip it, you pay for it. And in that case, would the project manager or the customer invest in project design? The answer is hell yes. But why is the answer different when it's not the head on the chopping block and the neck in the noose? The reason it's different is because they lack integrity.
Yeah.
So those with integrity will do things correctly, because the need for doing the work doesn't change based on the question of who's paying for it. So that's the second answer. Where's your integrity? The third answer is insanity. Every attempt of doing it differently has failed miserably in the history of the world. According to the first law of thermodynamics, it's precluded from ever working. Okay, I can mathematically prove that it cannot work. So now, let's talk about the smartest man that ever lived. The smartest man that ever lived said that doing things more of the same but expecting better results is a definition of insanity. And so I assume that the customer or the manager wants you to do a better job than the last time. Well, given how horrible the last time was, and by definition, the very fact that you're doing it second or 10th time around is an indication that the last time sucked, because if it wouldn't suck, you would never need to do it again. So it obviously sucked. The mere fact you have to do it again, but expecting better result, is insanity. And you should not succumb to lunatics. And so that's another answer. It's insane. And you have to explain to them. Now, you don't have to explain what Einstein said. You can ask a simple question. How was that working for you last time? I'm asking you. I'm not making an opinion. I'm asking you. How did it work for you last time? Okay. And the last answer I can tell you is that people that work correctly and land their software on budget, on schedule, on quality, which means, by the way, 0 defects. And it's not that hard to do. Every project I was ever involved in my entire career, I shipped on schedule and budget with 0 defects. People that do it correctly have to push away jobs, have to push away work. Why? There's an endless supply of charlatans and quacks out there. People that know how to do it right are in short supply. You would actually increase your demand by insisting on working correctly. It is exactly the opposite. If you succumb to the whims of the lunatic manager and the hopelessly lost customer, you actually dilute your value and dilute your prospects. It's exactly the opposite. We have customers that routinely win businesses by going to the meeting with the customer and showing the architecture blueprints, the project design blueprints, the numbers, and so on. Every other competitor melts away. Where's your numbers? What's your proof for it? Okay, it is without, no customer of ours that has ever done that has ever lost a gig. Okay, it's you're only getting to lose gigs when you start doing it like the quacks and the charlatans. And so there is never any downside of working correctly. Nobody will ever come to you and say, what have you done? You met the schedule. There's just no downside whatsoever. Okay? It is a responsible thing to do. It's the professional thing to do. It's where integrity lies.
Absolutely. I think the big point is integrity, right? Because, you in our industry, there's, firms out there that will, say we could do this in X amount time, and it's not going to work. But it's being upfront and saying, look, this is what we think, this is what we know is the best process. And the one thing I loved about your book, there's one part where you talk about accuracy versus precision. And I found that absolutely, fascinating that, when you actually are estimating projects up front, there's some sort of like, okay, it's an estimate, right? Like a educated guess on, we think that this is going to happen in this amount of time. And this budget. But when we actually do that discovery or that design up front, and when we're getting that project rolling, then we're able to be a little bit more precise. And having those conversations, I know for a lot of people it's difficult because it's the harder thing to do.
Thank you for listening. We'd love to get your thoughts about this episode. Leave us a comment and give us a review wherever you get your podcasts. Connect with us at skipless.com for more content like this.